Hello, everybody who is kind enough to listen in on me. I guess I can say. Welcome to episode 1 of Poly Ramblez, where I just turn the recording on, do one take, and just talk about a topic as much as I can, as much as I want to, and for as long as I want to. And you sit, listen, and if you want to reach out, ask any questions, or chat about anything that was discussed, you can do that. Feel free to do that in the YouTube comment section, or you can always reach out to me on Discord. But yeah, in the beginning, this might be a little bit rough. I'm starting out, and I'm just going to be playing or just having some Vanguard gameplay in the background as I am talking and going over everything. And I think that will be just how I start in the beginning. And then in the future, as I keep going on with these, I might make it a little bit more professional. But for now, we're just going to put some gameplay in the background. So right now, you're probably looking at some Vanguard gameplay. I can talk a little bit about that really quickly, and then or get into the main topic of this episode. But basically, I've been really enjoying Vanguard. I know a lot of people hate on it, and there's tons of issues with it. I can't sit here and deny that at all. But I do really think that it's been helping me. It's been a nice distraction for me to just play something else and just have fun with it. I've been setting goals in it, maxing guns, completing challenges, trying to get better at mouse and keyboard. And for me, like during the past few months, it's really helped me just escape and like find an outlet. So yeah, I'm grateful for Vanguard. I'm not a great player or anything like that. My KD is currently 1.5, and it's probably I don't know how I'm gonna get it to go higher than that, but I'm decent enough, so I enjoy whatever you see in the back. It's not gonna be that great. It's just gonna be some gameplay. So enjoy that. All right, so on to the topic for today's episode. Today's episode, we're going to do a little 2021 recap, which is perfect because this is, the end of the year. So it's a pretty good time to sit back and think about everything that happened this year and summarize it. And hopefully, as y'all listen, you can take something away from it and maybe learn from this experience. I don't know, something like that. Hopefully, you all can benefit in some way from what I have to share. From my rambles, that is. So I will say in the beginning of 2021, obviously 2020 just ended. And 2020 was a difficult year for a lot of people. And it was definitely a difficult year for me. But I was hoping that 2021 would be, a fresh start for me. I'm not really one of those people that like to make a big deal about, like New Year's resolutions and stuff like that. Like, I don't really get too involved in that kind of stuff. But I do really like to use the new year as, hey, this is a way to start again. This is a continuance of my life, but I can approach this year differently. So I like to, use it as an encouraging way to really work on myself because, time is passing. So every year you can sit back and evaluate and see what you want to do better the next year. And that's kind of how I like to see the new year. So after 2020, the whole pandemic and everything like that, that really, changed how things were going. Like, if you don't know about me, I am a speedrunner and future content creator. This is the start of the content a little bit. Um, and I speedrun Jack and Daxter, the Precursor Legacy. And that Jack community like grew a lot in 2020, and it continued to grow into 2021 as well. So it was a lot for someone like me who is not that social, being autistic and just kind of being the type of person that usually sits on the sidelines and stays pretty reserved in communities. But like in the Jack community, I've really tried to come out of my shell and really put myself out there more. So when more people were joining, I tried to be more involved, interact with everybody that joins, be encouraging, supportive, all this type of stuff. So 2020 was a very big year for me socially, which was a good thing for me, I would say. So coming into 2021, I was hoping that, I can continue to make continue to make more social progress, because that is one of the things that really depresses me and gets me down a lot, is when I feel like I'm not socializing in a way that is effective for me and will, you know, help me move forward in life as a person. So that was my mindset coming into 2021. Um, so a big part of 2021 for me, like one of the initial big events, was me coming to terms with my identity being bisexual and polyamorous. And towards the end of 2020, I started talking to a previous friend of mine from high school. I had this weird urge in like November of 2020 to like reach out to her and just start talking again. So we started talking again, and it was good. Like we were happy, things were going really well. So when 2021 hit, I was starting to realize that, I am feeling things for this friend of mine. And I don't think I can just pretend that I'm not. So, like, when that was happening, it was a very stressful time for me, because I'm like, okay, if you don't know, I've been in a relationship for uh, almost 11 years now. Our anniversary is actually today, um, the 31st. And I care about this person. Obviously, we've been in a committed relationship for a really long time, but I'm still feeling something for somebody else. But that doesn't change what I'm feeling for my long term partner. His name is Dan. I'll just say Dan so it makes it a little bit easier when I'm talking about all this. But yeah, so that is eventually what led me to be like, okay, I need to be honest about this. I need to tell my partner how I feel and see, how my friend feels. And for me, that was something that was really difficult, because I've always had these feelings hidden deep inside me, but I just never would allow myself to ever touch it. Like it's like there's a treasure chest deep in your heart or something, or deep in you, or wherever you want to whatever you want to imagine it. And you don't ever want to unlock that treasure chest, because once you unlock it, all this stuff just starts coming out. That's how I felt with a lot of those types of feelings. Like those things were there were feelings that I was not allowed to explore and evaluate or touch. If I think about them, I have to change. I have to try to think about something else, because I was raised Christian. So all of this, the idea of any of this, was just not something that I knew would be accepted. So, and growing up, my goal was to make life easier for myself. Um, so I learned what I needed to do to get by and, deal with the least amount of pain and suffering. And unfortunately for me, being autistic and, being kind of weirdo, I already went through a lot of pain and suffering just from being that way or being myself. So adding that into the mix, nah, I didn't want anything to do with that. So for me, that was just something that would not get touched at all. So eventually, telling my friend how I felt about her, and then telling my partner, I might be polyamorous, and I might be bi, like telling my partner that when we've been together for so long, that was really hard for me to do. And I think that just the act of doing that really helped me grow as a person, because I feel like it felt like I just broke through a wall that had been in front of me or blocking me for so many years in my life. And now now I've told the truth to the people who matter the most to me, the people I'm the closest to. Obviously, I care deeply about my family, but I've never been very close to them. But um, I would hope to eventually tell them. I have not told them directly yet. They might find out if they listen to this, but I haven't told them directly yet anything about any of this, really. Um, but hopefully eventually I would get to that point where I can. But, I told the people I'm the closest to, my partner of 11 years, and uh, my friend that I was developing feelings for, like really serious and strong feelings for. Um, so as a result of this, we all agreed that we're gonna start like a polyamorous relationship. And so basically I was dating Dan, my partner of 11 years, and my new girlfriend, I guess you could say. And unfortunately, um, I started to notice red flags in my friend turned girlfriend. Initially, everything was great. I was probably the happiest I had ever been. I had, shared everything I could ever possibly share about myself to the people that matter the most to me. Um, I shared it eventually to the people in the Jack community, the people who watch small stream community. And I felt like I was supported and accepted for who I was, and that I no longer had any part of me that I have to hide anymore. And that was a very freeing experience. And I was just elated because, I'm finally living I guess it's kind of cliche, but I'm finally living my truth. I'm living my truth right now. So for me, that's what ended up happening. I just, you know, was so happy that I had exactly what I've always really wanted in my life, to keep all the people I love, to be able to, continue relationships with them, meaningful ones, and have it not be a problem. Because being polyamorous to me is just the having the freedom to let any relationship in your life develop into whatever they end up developing into. So if we just stayed friends, then we stayed friends. But if we end up feeling things for each other, that shouldn't take away from whatever I might have with somebody else. And for example, like Dan, like we had a very strong, committed relationship for so long. Just because feelings develop for somebody else doesn't mean that all of that goes to waste. At least not to me. So being able to live that was a dream come true. So I was really happy. Um, and I was making sure I was doing really good at managing my streaming and my stream schedule, as well as making time for both of them. Um, but like I said before, I did start to notice red flags and narcissistic traits in my friend turned girlfriend. And the biggest lesson I learned about this is when you see how little someone can care for another person, do not mistake that and think that they will treat you any differently. Because that is basically what I did with this person. I saw how she treated other people in her life, and I didn't agree with it. I didn't think it was right, I thought I was kind of messed up, but I'm like, you know, maybe with me it's gonna be different. You know, it's fine. And sometimes someone who's narcissistic, they're gonna do everything they can to make you fall for that, make you really think that it will be different for you, because they will love bomb you, they will treat you really well, they'll act like they can't get enough of you. That's what happened in the beginning. I was love bombed and treated like I was the best thing in the world. And then once you hit that wall, when they're done with that, they already think they got you. That's when their behavior starts to change, and you're like, wait a minute, did I do something wrong? You know, are you unhappy? What's going on? You start to question yourself and doubt yourself, and that's where all the trauma from being with someone who's narcissistic comes from, because you have no explanation for why their behavior changed in such a drastic way. But aside from that, the main issue with her is that she just wouldn't take responsibility for her life. She would lie very often, and she would tell different people different things. And unfortunately for me, I was so happy to be in this, situation, that I invited her into the Jack community, invited her into my stream community, which was also a major mistake. I should have given it more time before I did something like that. But people who are narcissistic like to attach themselves to anyone and everyone because they can, use people to get what they want. And so she started attaching herself to various people in the community, doing things that were very inappropriate or always drawing attention to herself. And I would notice this and just be like, yeah, it's okay, it's whatever. She can do what she wants because, we're polyamorous. Like, I don't own her. She's her own person. So I had to learn to respect that, even though I was dealing with a lot of jealousy and things like that, which is normal. You're polyamorous. You learn to cope and adapt to that and deal with it in a healthy way. But then I realized that she was doing a lot of these behaviors intentionally, and that's when it would have an even more painful impact on me. So she would add people into her life circle that were in my life circle, prioritize those people, neglect me and make it very obvious that I wasn't someone that mattered to her. And then if I were to call her out on it, I'm told that I'm being too emotional, too sensitive, too controlling, and just a lot of gaslighting where you're made to think that everything's your fault, and then you want to try to fix it, but you can't fix it because there's nothing to fix. There's nothing really to fix because they don't really care about the relationship. They're just doing what they need to do to keep you strung up, I guess. So I don't want to get too deep into that. It was very difficult time. It was emotionally abusive relationship. I didn't do everything perfectly either. I didn't handle being treated that way very well at all. And it hurt me a lot with my personal and professional life and with my streaming. And all, like, thinking back on that, it really it's hard to think back on it because I'm so passionate about the things I do, but it's so easy for me to be emotionally overwhelmed to the point where I just can't function like a normal person anymore. So dealing with that like really left me out of commission, and I didn't stream as much. I wasn't able to be as productive at work, and it was just not very good for me at all. I was in a very deep and dark place for a long time. But eventually I broke it off with her and completely removed her from my life because I realized that, she's narcissistic, she's toxic, she She's just making my life much worse. This isn't a healthy relationship at all. And I knew I needed to get away from her. But she had ingrained herself so deeply with the people around me that it took a long time for me to heal and like recover from the abuse I experienced. I was in a very depressed and heartbroken state for like a few months, I would say. Um, I would literally sit there and just contemplate all the red flags I've seen and blame myself for not seeing them or acting on them right away or and I will admit that I was so excited to be dating a girl for the first time, to be out, to be fully happy like this. So like going from like that really high elated state to like almost rock bottom because of how someone you thought you loved was treating you or you thought loved you was treating you. It was like it was like a roller coaster, I guess you can say. Like I went from the top to the bottom really quickly. But eventually I began to heal. Probably took me like 2 months. I think I officially broke everything off May 1st. It's funny because I remember that date. So broke everything off May 1st. And then from there, I just started healing. I had started my mental and physical health journey at the beginning of 2021. So I had started going to the dentist a lot. I started going to the doctors a lot. I was, going to a psychiatrist so I can get back on medication because I had been off my medication for like a few years at that point, I think. And, it was a difficult time because, when you're starting SSRIs or antidepressants and things like that, you got to find what works for you. You got to find what dosage is good for you. So, like, I was in the process of working through that, but also going through a really major depressive state. So, it was kind of difficult to manage on top of everything else. But I did have a lot of support from friends and my partner who, he witnessed a lot of what was going on. And those literally were the only things keeping me afloat. The fact that I had at least started my meds and I had support from people who understood what I was going through, people who also talk to her and know what she's like. And it helped me just get through that time. But as a result, I started doing a lot of research on narcissistic partners and relationships. One thing about me is that I'm addicted to learning things. So if I ever experience something and it had such a drastic impact on me, I'm like gonna go all the way in and just study it and try to understand everything about it. So that's basically what happened. I just started doing a lot of research on narcissistic partners and things like that. I wanted to make sure that I was fully aware of the red flags and the signs and everything I need to be looking for so that I could protect myself and others from a person like that. Uh, I did get too involved a little bit. I involved myself way too much in trying to protect others from her. I was afraid that she would spread her, toxicity to more people in my community or more people in the Jack community, and I was terrified of that. And I thought that, I had to be the one to warn people, protect people, and all this. Um, but I realized I was getting too into it, I guess you can say, too attached to that whole situation. I was involving myself too much, and that wasn't allowing me to properly move on the way I should have. So I did warn a few people. Most people already knew. Um, you know, they could see through her behaviors. But yeah, eventually I was able to relax and finally let go and move on from it completely. I do though feel like if I ever loved someone or I felt like really strongly about them, like those feelings never just completely dissipate. I feel like I always feel for the person in some way, shape, or form. So with that said, I do hope that she gets the help she needs. Because I do know that, you know, she's not in a good mental state. That's obvious. And I just hope that she can get the help that she needs. But yeah, as a result of that relationship with my now ex, um, I started a lot of new friendships, I would say, within the Jack community or just online in general, because that's where most of my socialization nowadays takes place. So I got closer to a few people, but I also felt I got distance from a few others that I thought I was getting closer to. And that's just a part of life. It's a hard part of life for me because I usually take that as, oh, I must be doing something wrong. But, you know, that's just life in reality. Um, I started streaming less because my mental health was a little bit unstable for a while. And, you know, it was impacting my work life, as I mentioned before. So I was trying to be more cautious about that. So I had to put streaming on the back burner kind of around this time. And I was happy to be socializing and seeing my growth when I streamed. Like when I was streaming, there's a lot of discussions, there's a lot of interactivity. You know, people really seem to enjoy themselves on, you know, watching my streams. And that is something that, you know, means a lot to me and makes me really happy just knowing that I can, you know, create an environment where people can come and we can have discussions and just have a good time, just be ourselves. Um, so when I did stream, my stream was saving me. It was seriously helping me so much, just knowing that I could have that impact at all on anybody. And I was also, you know, socializing with more people, people who were helping me and supporting me, and, you know, and that was really good for me at the time. Because I had, for a while, felt a little bit disconnected because, like, when you go through something abusive like that, you kind of don't know if you can ever have healthy relationships again. You doubt yourself, and, you know, so having some healthy relationships around that time was really good for me. So initially, after that whole breakup situation, I kind of started trying to jump right into dating again. Because like being polyamorous, there's no reason to not, you know, date. Um, um, so I started, you know, trying to date, trying to talk to people on dating apps, and man, dating apps really suck. But you know, that's a ramble for another day. Um, but yeah, on the dating app, I met a few people, went out on a few dates, but for the most part, you know, none of them really escalated anywhere. But I did create relationship, like new friendships with people from doing that, and a few of those people are still in my life today. So that's something I'm really grateful for. Um, I just I'm learning to meet people online and in person and build relationships, friendships, and things like that. And that's something that I'm really proud of that I was able to accomplish this year. One of the friendships I started became very serious and meaningful to me, but not as much to the other person, I would say, because of the fact that it seemed like it wasn't as meaningful to the other person, and that I had just had my, you know, heart broken when this relationship was uh starting up. And I kind of felt like I was starting at ground zero when it comes to socializing and trusting others again. I think I made a lot of mistakes and acted out in this new friendship because of, you know, just coming out of that really emotional state. And it kind of brought me back to how I felt like when I was younger, when I would really struggle socially. a lot more than I do now. I felt like it brought back a lot of those types of behaviors with this new friendship. This was an online friendship, by the way. Not one of the ones that I've, met the person in person or anything like that. But it brought out, a lot of excitement, a lot of lack of self control, things that I really struggled with when I was younger. And the interesting thing is, this friend is very keen and picked up on a lot of my misbehaviors. And I was drawn to how well they could understand and interpret my behaviors. That was something that made me want to talk to them more and learn more about them. And I'm the type of person that if I'm interested in you, I will ask you tons of questions about yourself. And, I'm just legitimately curious about you as a human. Like, legit. But eventually it got to a point where I felt like this person was not always that accurate about their interpretations, and from my perspective, their interpretations of me got to a point where sometimes it would come off as insulting or demeaning. And that was when I started, really questioning, like, wait, what am I creating here? Because I feel like in the beginning, like, I came to this person because I was struggling with my, that past relationship. They were a big help to get me out of that relationship. But they also, as a result, put themselves in this position where they're like a teacher or they're like a guide or something like that. And I'm usually a pretty capable person. I can take care of myself, but I do love to, take insight from people and learn from others and get their thoughts on things. And I will consider it and act on it if I feel like it's valid for me. But I also kind of just want friends, I just want people who are gonna be there for me, who are gonna support me, but treat me as if I'm my own being. I'm an equal to you. I'm not someone that you need to teach and show how to do every little thing. I want to learn together. I want to grow together. I don't want to be treated like I'm less than you. And I started feeling that way with this relationship, and I realized that, I kind of put myself in this situation by coming to this person and seeking guidance. But then when I'm, when I'm back and I'm getting my confidence back, I'm healing from everything. I wanted to like transition into like a normal equal friendship, and it didn't feel like it was turning into that. It felt like it was very patronizing, I guess I can say. So on one side, I feel a strong connection, someone who seems to understand me really well and I'm very interested in. And then on the other hand, I feel constantly disrespected and hurt by them because of some of the things that they say about me. So this relationship would continue to have a major impact on my mental health throughout the year. But it taught me that, one, I need to control myself better, because when I care about someone so much, it is very easy for my emotions to overwhelm me. And when they do, that's what leads to meltdowns. It's what leads to like more toxic behaviors for myself. Things that I've worked really hard to overcome. Those behaviors can come back very easily when I'm in an overwhelmed state like that. And this person, considering the fact that I cared about them so much, could easily trigger that type of behavior from me. And that was something that was surprising to me and also concerning to me, and was really having an impact on my mental health. But it showed me that, like, I still need to work on this. I still need to have better control over this, because anybody who comes into my life who I care a lot about is going to bring this type of thing out of me. So it made me more aware of that and really start to focus on self-control. So this whole situation was having a big impact on my mental health all throughout the year. And it was something that I reached out to a lot of people about here and there, but I never wanted to be too specific about it because I was afraid that people would tell me to give up on the friendship and everything like that. And I didn't want to give up on it. My goal was to understand it better and make the changes I need, or, get us on the same page so we can both make the changes we need so that we can be healthier friends for each other. So my happiness and excitement can get the best of me and make me act in ways that others may not interpret. It might cause others to not interpret my behaviors the way I would assume or initially think that they would. So I need to be careful when my emotions get really heightened. That is something that's is just very true about me. So although this friendship was very exciting and made me very happy in the beginning, I need to be careful when that happens because it can also make me cross boundaries that aren't healthy for relationships and anything like that, romantic or platonic. So this relationship was teaching me a lot, but it was also affecting me a lot. And that's kind of something that you got to find a healthy balance with. And I wasn't really sure what that balance was. But secondly, I learned that I need to prioritize myself more in relationships, because another thing that I tend to do is I tend to be a people pleaser, and I will put the other person in the relationship above myself again and again because I just want them to be happy. I want to see them succeed. I want to encourage them. I want them to be, I just want everything good to happen for the other person. But I do it so much that I neglect my own needs. And then when I do start to vocalize my needs, the person's just not used to it. So I feel like they kind of react in a strange way when I start to be more demanding or more assertive. And I feel like that's something that happened with this relationship. In the beginning, I came looking for guidance. So I put myself in that submissive position with them in the friendship. And then when I try to switch things around and take more authority over myself, be more assertive, the other person's like doesn't know how to handle that behavior from me. And obviously that can lead to a lot of issues because there's the dynamics between two people are changing within the relationship, and it's not always clear why that change is happening. So I realize now that with any new relationship in my life, I need to make sure that I am properly considering my own needs, everything that, matters to me needs to be at the forefront of my mind. I can't just be always putting the other person before me. Because in the end, it just drains me. And it also leads to me being abused, hurt, drained. Obviously, not every situation is going to lead to abuse, but I have experienced a lot of emotional abuse in my life, and it's partially because of that tendency to please others. And I've allowed a lot of people to hurt me because of that. And part of healing is learning to accept responsibility for the things that you do. So no, it's not my fault that people abuse me. Of course not. But are there things that I can change that will help me get stronger? Stand up against things, avoid bad situations. Yes, and those are the things that I try to be honest about and really learn from the experiences, because that is what's going to make me a better person. You know, I can still be a good friend and stand up for myself, do what is best for me. Doing those things don't make me a bad friend. And in my mind, I would have this black and white thinking where if I don't put that person first, if I don't do everything that they want, then I'm not a good friend. And that's just not true. So I've taken a big step back from this relationship I've been talking about, this friendship. And although we are still trying to make it work, I know better now what I deserve and that I will make sure I prioritize myself moving forward. And I can't really say for sure where that, how this friendship will end, or, you know, if it will continue or how long it will continue. But I do know that at least on my end, I will be doing everything I can to be better and make better choices and prioritize my needs and focus on the things I need to work on. So, as I mentioned, my partner also started his mental and physical health journey. His journey, I would say, also took a huge toll on us. He's never really looked into his physical and mental health before. So this is like a big step for him to start doing. Like for me, I started everything at the beginning of the year as well, but I've done it before. Like I've started my mental health process when I was 21. And I also, you know, have made sure I go to the doctors here and there and do things like that. I've done that consistently for most of my life. Although for the past few years I had stopped, and that's why I wanted to get started again, because things had been improving in my life. So I was, you know, in a position where I could finally start that process again. So for me, it was just restarting the process. For him, it was starting, almost like starting from scratch. And that's never easy to do. So I will say that that took a toll, but it also has shown me how important, you know, relationships are, and how, you know, communication, making sure you're listening to the other person, trying to understand each other's needs, knowing when to prioritize each other. That's really important. The biggest thing that happened this year is that all these different things happening for me just made me stream a lot less, made me focus on the Jack community a lot less, made me focus on events a lot less. But I feel like in the end, it was worth it because, yeah, I'm not focusing on these things as much anymore, but I am putting more into, you know, my relationships, the relationships in my life, friends, friends, partners, potential partners. I'm putting more into my mental health journey, my physical health journey. Because on my end, I was going to the dentist a lot. I had my wisdom teeth removed this year, and so much had happened for me physically. And then also I was starting new medications and things like that. So like a lot was going on. And as a result, I streamed a lot less, but I think that it was important for me to do that because I needed to, you know, prioritize myself. I needed to focus on the things that would help make me better. And that is part of that. Because throughout the year, I struggled a lot with the fact that I wasn't streaming as much. And I do feel like it hurt my growth. As a result, like if you don't stream as much, you know, people aren't going to reliably come to watch you every time you start your stream. But I am grateful for the people who have been supporting me throughout my whole streaming career, if you'd like to call it that. I don't know. there have been a lot of loyal people and people who try to support when they can, and I really appreciate that. It means the world to me because streaming is a passion of mine that I don't know, it's hard to explain. It's something that I care about a lot, but I also don't want to let it control my life. So, it was hard not streaming as much, but the reasons behind that I think are very valid. And I'm proud of myself for being able to recognize that and let go of streaming as intensely as I did when I first started. Because when I first started streaming, I think it was like in 2018 or something, I streamed almost every day, all day. And then when I started working more, I streamed. Like I would stop work and just stream until I had to go to bed. Like I was always streaming. And I still have a lot of that passion for it, but I'm learning more now that more doesn't always mean better. Sometimes distancing yourself, taking the time you need for you, improving things behind the scenes, things that I've been doing these past few months when I haven't been streaming as much, but I'm still streaming. Uh, that stuff is really healthy for me. It's something that I need to make sure I do more of when I do feel the need for it. I can stream a lot sometimes, but I'm also going to make sure that I'm prioritizing myself, the people that matter to me in my life. All that stuff needs to come first before streaming. So I'm glad that I was able to manage that this year and still keep streaming, still keep doing everything I love, but also focus on the things that mattered at the time. So, streaming less and feeling more isolated than the Jack community and everything like that, that did have a toll on me. It was hard. It was making me more stressed and anxious because I was feeling like I was letting everyone down or being a failure or not, not showing the community I care as much. And at the same time, I was also feeling like no one really cared that I wasn't doing it as much either. So I was feeling like, wait, did I even have an impact on anybody anyway? Like, did it even matter that I'm streaming less? Like, does it even matter that I'm not as active in the community? Like, I was feeling a lot of really negative thoughts about my inactivity. And it was a real wake up call, and it showed me that I truly need to find validation from within myself and do what is best for me and not for everyone else, because all of my worries and concerns are about other people and what they might be thinking or if their needs aren't met, when it should be about me and the people close to me. So, although I'm afraid to let people down, I can't let myself get down in the process. And that was something that towards the end of the year I really started to come to terms with, where I'm just like, I'm passionate about streaming. The people who support me, they know that. They know that I take time off because I need it, and I'm using it wisely, I'm using it well. And that's all that matters. I got to focus on doing what's best for me, and that is sometimes not streaming as often. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to be putting the work in to make my stream better. I'm always going to be putting the effort in. I'm always going to be doing the work. But I would do it on my own terms, at my own pace, and in my own way. And I have to be okay with that. I don't need anyone else's validation for that. And I do feel like I've gotten to that point now where I'm okay with it. But yeah, just recently I've been finding that motivation again. The past few months, I would say I've just gotten so much into like learning new things for the stream. I've been diving into virtual audio cables, Firebot, which is a new stream bot I'm gonna be using for the stream. I've been learning tons of things about, audio plugins and OBS. And I've just been putting a lot of time into really working on improving things even when I'm not streaming. And that has helped me so much. It's helped me find drive and motivation and determination again. You know, I started like really accepting that, all the pain that I went through this year, all the depressive moments, all the times where it's been really hard, those have been good for me because they're exactly they're what has gotten me here right now. And I wouldn't be the person I am without them. And I'm learning that it's okay to accept that I deserve better than abusive relationships, abusive friendships, abusive partners. Like, I deserve better than that. And I do believe that I'm worthy of love and friendships that are fulfilling and meaningful. And I'm excited to, you know, grow as a person to where I can, you know, get to those types of relationships, build those types of relationships with people who are equally as interested in building them with me. So I feel like I'm at a point now where I've just been having fun, learning new things, grinding in my own way. And I'm honestly just looking forward to the future and what it has in store for me. And with this, I guess, with this new sense of clarity that I have, I just feel um, like everything I went through last year, or this year, it's still this year, everything I went through this year um, really challenged me and has forced me to really face the truth, the reality of life and the way things are. And as a result, you improve a lot because you start to accept things, you start to make peace of things, and then you realize that, all of it is just lessons that I can take and use throughout the rest of my life. And that's basically what I'm going to be doing with everything that I learned in 2021. So that's basically summary of everything that happened in 2021. Probably rambled on more than I needed to about some of those points, but it's okay. That's the kind of the point. Um, but yeah, I think that 2022 is going to be a great year. I'm excited for all the new changes that are going to be coming to the stream and um, future upgrades and just life things that I'm looking forward to. My goal for 2022 is to, keep focusing, keep grinding, but I'm really going to be focused on prioritizing, my mental health, making sure I keep progressing with that, working on the things I know I need to work on, continuing with therapy, and also I would like to, you know, work harder on my professional development. Work definitely took the back burner this year, and I don't want that to be the case anymore. So I'm gonna start pushing myself with my work, and I'm excited to start looking into accessibility. If you don't know, I do quality assurance. So I'm gonna be looking into accessibility as a focus for a little bit, and I'm excited for that because it's something that's gonna be a little bit easier, but something that I'm also interested in, and hopefully, if I like it enough, I can really dive into that, and I'm excited for that, and yeah, and it's gonna be taking it one step at a time. Right now, I'm not really focused on dating or adding any more people to my life. I'm just focused on the people who are currently here and making the relationships better and more positive and just being a better, healthier person overall. My partner and I have done a lot to make changes. We're trying to change the way we eat. We're changing the way we do our chores. Like all these little things we've been working on improving, and I think it's really had an impact. So I'm hoping that in 2022 we can keep that positive process going as the year continues on. But yeah, that's gonna be it for the Poly Ramblez episode 1. It looks like we almost hit an hour. That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't even know who's gonna listen to this, but this was definitely worth it for me. So if you didn't make it this far, I appreciate it. Thank you so much for listening. And I don't know when the next episode is gonna come out, but I'll find some topic to talk about, and then I'll ramble about that one too. Maybe for not as long. We'll find out. But yeah, thank you for listening, and hope you have a great new year, or New Year's with an S, whatever you're supposed to say. Upon editing, I realized that not all the gameplay finished when my, talking finished. So, just wanted to say, enjoy the rest of the gameplay if you would like to see the rest of this map. Otherwise, or hopefully catch you next time.
Keep pushing and we might have this. They're taking Baker. Baker is lost.
Just warming up.
Attack dogs ready for action. Friendly attack dogs on the way for backup. Friendly guard dog on his way. Recon sweeping the sector.
You got him. They got one of our pups.
Losing objective Baker.
Got another fighting you.
They're taking Baker.
Enemies took out a pup.
Baker is lost.
They pinned me down. They got one of our pups.
Hostile dogs in the zone. Light glide bomber on the way. Allied quarter bombing run incoming.
Another fighting you. Keep away from my pup. Step away from my
Watch your head, shells falling. Hostile recon in the air. Spy in the sky.
I owe you one.
recon in the air. Spies in the sky.
They pin me down! Tossing grenade!
Round is almost done.
Incoming grenade!
So, an enemy dog free out there. Hostile recon in the air. Spies in the sky. Allied glide bomber on the way.
Never count me out!
Hostile dogs in the zone. What the hell happened out there? Enemy has bombers on the way.